Oh. Okay, now we are ready. So let's get into it. Hello, welcome. It's nice to see you. I'm your host Martina, if you don't know me. And if you're new here, this is a perfect episode for you, actually, if you are new here, because I want to answer some of the questions that people might ask, and also some of the questions that people ask me in person, but also some of the comments on my videos. Because I think sometimes people have really good comments and considerations and things that they ask or kind of bring up, but then, I can't really write a paragraph on my videos. Or maybe I could, but then I don't know who would read it. So I thought, why not to make a video about that? And on top of that, sorry for oversharing, but it's also perfect for me because I just got my period and I'm totally destroyed. So I don't think I could give you any empowering, motivating speech right now. So answering questions is actually very perfect for me. But first of all, before we dive into the questions, I would love to sort of share a little bit about this podcast for maybe those of you that are new here. And that might inspire you, actually, I hope. Because if I was able to do it, I'm pretty sure you can do it too. I launched this podcast in January this year, which is basically 9 months ago. Wow, that's like giving birth, the whole duration of pregnancy. That's a long time, but at the same time, it's a very short time if you think about it, because I didn't know anything in the beginning. And you can also just go on my page and watch one of the first videos where I have no equipment like this and no proper studio. And yeah, I really just knew nothing. And right now, I'm actually a sound engineer in training, which is super exciting and also amazing because, like, guys, I haven't studied music. I haven't done anything with sound in my life. So the fact that I've actually done last week my first a live show as a sound engineer, where you move all the buttons and stuff like that. For those of you that maybe know about sound engineering, I was in front of house, which is a big responsibility, and I help also set up the stage and stuff. So wow, if I can do it, so can you. So really, if you have a passion, believe in yourself and follow that passion. And of course, be patient and kind to yourself, because it's not something you learn from one day to another. But this is just a small reminder, for you to not underestimate yourself, and also don't believe if people tell you that you cannot do it or that you need proper education to do it, don't believe them. And I'm not saying that the education is useless, but you can truly learn so much just by yourself and with the people around you that already know what they're doing, and that know what they're doing and doing what you want to do. So don't give up and just do what you want to do. I hope that this made sense. I'm still a beginner, so please excuse me. I'm really trying to improve this podcast anytime I can. As you can see, I'm in a studio today, but that also doesn't mean anything, to be honest, because if you don't know how to use the equipment, then it's kind of useless. And also to add, I'm using a recording software called BAT, which I never used before, but it's just because in the studio that we have here, this is not my own studio, by the way, this is down at Sudhavn, in a place called Frontlöbene in Aarhus, where you can also join and be a member if you want. You can join our radio or just do a podcast like me, or just hang out with me if you want to do sound. It would be amazing. And for some reason we have some difficulties with another program which we used to use, and with the console and the connection, and we cannot figure out, for the love of God, what's happening. So I didn't want to risk that the audio is going to sound weird or not nice, and I just am trying new software, but that might result in also it's sounding not so nice. So forgive me if it doesn't. But like I said, today we are here to answer some questions and also kind of maybe clarify some comments, because maybe I can start here. Like, for example, a lot of you asked, or a lot of people writes me actually, that they found my page and they thought it's ASMR, or they just saw a video and they thought like, oh, this is ASMR. Just to clarify, I'll talk a little bit about that. I would love to do ASMR. I love it. It's not that I like listen to it, but I can see that I love certain sounds that I would love to put together, and I don't know, just like do that. I think I would really enjoy it. So I might do it in the future, but it's also a big commitment. So if I do it, then expect me to maybe do it once a month or something like that. You know, don't expect me to do like every week the same way I do my podcast, because I do a lot of other things. I'm still an artist and sound engineer in training right now. So I'm trying to get jobs in that, which is a huge commitment and it takes a lot of time. So if I can, I will do ASMR. So stay tuned, but don't stay purely for ASMR. So I've wrote down some questions and I categorize them into like two categories. One is more like comments from the videos. So yes, I went through all my videos and all the comments and wrote some of the things down. And another one is in-person questions, which some of you actually ask me in person, which is super nice. If like when I'm at events or when I meet you and you guys tell me like, oh, I follow you. Like the other week, Casper, hi Casper, if you still follow me, or my really good friend Bea, I always think about you, Bea. So thank you so much for your support. I don't know if you're watching, maybe you're just listening, but thank you so much. It really means a lot. And I get asked a lot of questions kind of in person that are kind of similar. So I was thinking to talk a bit more about that. The first thing, I guess I get asked a lot in person when we talk about like my podcast and my art and whatever. A lot of you mention that they have the impression that I do a lot of things. And how do I manage to balance all these things? Because you see a lot of things that I do. And I would love to start by saying I don't do so much. I know it might seem like I do a lot, but social media is truly an Instagram highlight and it's never the same in person. A lot of you think also that I probably have this amazing social life and I'm totally extroverted and all this, which is not true. Not that I'm not extroverted. I don't think I'm like completely extroverted. I love people. I love hanging out and like talking to people, and I'm naturally just curious. But like I spend so much time alone actually, guys, to be honest. And that's also why I started this podcast, right? Because if I didn't have the time on my hands, I wouldn't do it. And going back to like how much I do and how I manage to balance. So I'm gonna be totally transparent. There are times when I cannot balance everything, when it is difficult and it feels like you're in the hamster wheel and you keep running and tasks just keep appearing and the to-do list is endless. But it's very important to ground yourself in the fact that the to-do list will never be finished. So don't stress too much about like, you know, all the things you have to do, and don't think about doing everything perfectly, and don't think about when you like do the to-do list for today, let's say, don't think about, oh, I have to finish everything today, because you don't. And this is one thing that I love about planning and scheduling stuff. I make my own paper calendar because I just love it and it helps me to like think in the future and plan stuff. And that's how I guess I'm able to do a lot of things, because the same way I don't know why, I always think of school. I used to have a lot of homeworks when I was studying art, and it wasn't homework just for art classes, it was homeworks for other classes, plus on top of that, you kind of have other homeworks which are related to studying for exams, right? So it's a lot of self-work, and then in the mornings you like work, right? And it's very similar to the schedule I have now, where I work in the mornings in the jobs that like mainly pay my bills, and then in the afternoon I can do whatever I want, right? So I kind of think of deadlines that I set for myself, like this podcast. I know it comes out every Monday, but it doesn't mean that on Sunday evening I have to stress out and do everything, right? Like I pre-record some of the episodes in advance, and if I don't have the energy, maybe I just record it one day and then edit it next day and then schedule it the day after, so that I don't spend 3 hours working on it, but I spend 30 minutes every day, or I hope it makes sense. So it's also a lot about having overview of your time and sort of dividing the tasks into small chunks and putting them into calendar, into manageable tasks, but also being very real with yourself and understanding that you're not gonna be perfect. So it's also accepting that sometimes things are just not gonna turn out exactly the way you want, and you just have to decide, okay, does it make sense for me to spend so much time? Maybe I should give it only 45 minutes. Maybe that's the only time I have today and the energy I have for today. So it's also to be very real and strict with yourself, to like say that I have this task I have to do and I'm only gonna spend 30 minutes on it. So that's sort of how I try to balance, but of course I'm gonna be very real. There are times where I don't balance. Like a good example is I think May, June, July. So, but you have to set the priorities also, because it doesn't mean that you have to miss out on like your friend's birthday or not call your family or stuff like that, because those are also the things that like recharge you, right? Or recharge me. So I think it's very good to also know your priorities. So I hope this answered your question that a lot of people I know asks. I think to summarize it all for me, it's for sure about priorities, knowing my priorities and knowing what recharges me and what truly matters in life for me. And I can honestly tell you I had a tough year and I went through a lot this year that really showed me what matters in life. And I'm really grateful for that, because then I know that if I don't manage to record an episode, then nothing's going to happen. The world is not going to collapse. So yeah, keep in mind your priorities, what recharges you. And it's okay to miss out. There is always going to be another event. There is always going to be another opportunity. So don't stress too much also. And make sure that you enjoy what you're doing, for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Another good question is related. So I'm going to try quickly answer. A lot of you say like, oh, you're a really busy person. How do you find the time to rest? I'm going to be very transparent and real with you guys. And it might sound insane, but it goes very much to show that I'm actually not that busy. So I sleep a lot. Like if I can, I will sleep 9 or 10 hours every day. I know it's insane, but I love it. Like ever since I was a child, I love to sleep. So from 8 o'clock in the evening, I'm like, I'm done. I turn off my phone. And it's me time, and at 9, 10 I'm in bed. And I know it's insane, but then I wake up at like 7:38. I usually wake up. So I do sleep a lot. Of course there are days when I don't fall asleep, but then again, how I rest, I take naps. I love napping. So yeah, I also love to have this sort of routine where when I come home from work, that after lunch I take like half an hour, 1 hour to do nothing. I just eat my lunch. After lunch I have my coffee and I have my nap, or I just like lay down or rest. And I know it might sound like I don't, to be honest, for me it sounds insane that people don't do this. I have a lot of friends that they just are like very restless and they're always moving and always doing. And for me, I can't. Like, I'm not able to do that. So it's possible to find time for rest. And it goes again to the priorities, right? If that's your priority, you will find the time to do it. The same way, if you care about something, you will find the time to do it. So it's not so difficult to rest. Yeah. Anyways, I hope I answered. Oh, wow. Okay. Some of you asked, what made you start the artist mindset? And guys, I think that's important to answer because it is related to the sound engineering that I'm doing. So, why I started this podcast? So, I had a dream to start a podcast for at least 2 years, or maybe even 3. I had a podcast with one of my friends, Bea. Hi, Bea, if you're listening. We had a podcast for some time. We did a few episodes where we interviewed people about different topics, and I loved it. And I guess I just love talking to people, so that's why I thought it would be cool. But after I started the podcast, after I really, truly recorded one episode, I've realized that it's about something totally else. And I think it's about kind of feeding that courage inside of me of doing something new and something completely unknown and completely new to me, because it's very uncomfortable, right? To be in a situation where, especially like me, if you're a perfectionist, which I think a lot of artists can relate to, it's very tough to be in a situation where you don't know anything, but you know how you want the end result to look like, because it's very frustrating and you have to be very patient, right? So I think I started this podcast to challenge myself on one hand. So, this frustrating, uncomfortable part, but also to kind of ground myself in knowing that nothing is perfect, nothing will ever be perfect, and I should just chill. Because I think I sometimes just take things too seriously, So, yeah, that's why, but also because I think I wanted to do something with music. I love music, I love sound, and I love also movies. But ever since I was a kid, I love films, movies. But I always kind of felt that the sound is what makes the movie, or the music is what makes the movie, if that makes sense, you can have a very scary scene, but if the sound is not a scary sound or something, is not going to make the atmosphere feel the same. And I always dreamt about doing something with that, but I had no idea where to start. And I think the podcast was kind of the easy entry for me, because I felt okay, that's very practical to learn, sort of, how do you record, how do you adjust the levels, how do you make it sound sort of good when you record, and also after you've recorded something, how do you make kind of polish it, right, and make it sound even better. So I thought that could be a good entry. And then I thought, okay, maybe I should do it kind of online, visibly, on YouTube or somewhere, to kind of keep myself accountable, because I've tried making videos in the past, but then it's you make one and then you forget about it, and then after 3 months you're like, oh my god, I mean nothing. So I thought, okay, if I commit to doing a podcast, which I also will enjoy, it could really help me to learn and grow, because even if there are months where I sort of just keep doing it without learning new stuff or putting effort into learning, there will also be months or weeks where I will sort of get fed up with myself and I will put effort to learn something more, and then I can implement it and practice it right away. And honestly, look at me now. If you want to start a podcast or a YouTube channel or doing videos or doing art or whatever it is, just go for it. Go full in. Don't judge yourself. Be fearless, truly. And if somebody criticizes you or says nasty comments or doesn't wish you well, then I know it's hard to say, oh, just ignore it. But please remember, those people are probably just jealous of you, because, I mean, why would they, criticize you if they don't know the whole story? So you don't have to care so much about them if you know why you do it and if you're doing it for yourself. So I definitely started this project as an experiment, but I'm really grateful I did, because wow, it's insane to think. If you would tell me in the beginning of this year, where I didn't even know how to record the audio, guys. I was recording with my phone and my camera because I was scared how to record And now I'm like doing sound engineering at a local venue for a concert. What? Yeah, it's a dream. I can't believe. I'm super happy and grateful for all your support. So yeah, that's probably why I started this podcast, and I hope it motivates and inspires you as well. So I hope I answered the question. And I think that's gonna be like the last question. I have so much more, guys, actually. So please let me know in the comments down below if you would like this format, if you would like me to answer more of your like questions or comments. I actually really enjoy it. And also, if you have more questions, please write down below in the comments or just reach out. Like, you can literally DM me on Instagram. So please reach out, ask anything you want, and I will try to answer all of your questions. I really appreciate. And if you want me to do this again, I will definitely consider doing this episode again. Yeah, so thank you so much for listening or watching, and I'll see you next time in the Artist Mindset.